What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Is This Thing On? It's your girl Faith, and today we're going to be talking about three teams who have disappointed me so far 10 to 11 games into the WNBA season. Alright, so my first team that I'm disappointed in so far into this season is the Las Vegas Aces. Um, they just haven't looked good, like, at all. Of course, they opened up the season losing to the New York Liberty. Okay, it wasn't terrible. They got down early, fought back, and then just couldn't really keep up with them. I was like, okay, that's just one game, first game of the season. It is what it is. So far, in the last probably since last year, New York has had their number, right? Um, then they struggled at first. They were struggling versus the Mystics, and it took a Jewel Lloyd buzzer beater for them to win the game. And that's a very young team. And I think Brittany Sykes didn't play that game, and they just didn't look good at all. Um, but that's not what really raised my concern about them. It was now three games in particular that really made me say, "Hmm, I don't think Vegas is a championship contender anymore." Um, do I think they can still be a playoff team? Yes. Do I think this is their year to compete for a championship? I'm gonna put a question mark on it because you can still never count out Asia Wilson. But these games that they're losing, and to these teams that they're losing to, so they did lose to the Seattle Storm. That one didn't really raise as much as of an eyebrow for me. Um, it did because it's not like they lost by 7 points, 10 points. They lost by 20 plus points. Like they were getting pummeled. Like they were getting ran over. It just did not look good. But I was like, okay, it happens. On to the next game. They came back the next week and they won the game. They were up by double digits, almost let it slip away, but they were able to close it out. Then they played the Golden State Valkyries. And when I looked at that game and saw that it was on the schedule and saw that it was a primetime game, I think it came on afternoon on a Saturday. I was like, oh, I don't know why they'll put that one on primetime. I don't think that's gonna be too pretty. Well, it wasn't, but not for the reason that I thought wasn't gonna be pretty. The Aces lost to the Golden State Valkyries by 27 points. I know that you have to play the game. Losses happen, but with Vegas and the experience that they have and the players, the talent that they have, them losing to the Valkyries, it's not like they lost on a buzzer beater, It's not like they lost by 5 points, 27 points. Like I'm telling you, like the Aces, if you watch that game, they didn't look good at all. And that is what really that's what really concerned me about them. I was like, 27 to the Valkyries? Like I I was like, maybe I couldn't even equate that to just having an off shooting night because that was the second game we saw them get pummeled like that, like they did versus Seattle. So, you got everybody on Twitter, man, what is going on with the Aces? Is it the coaching? Is it the roster? Is it everything? Like, has their window closed? Like, what's going on for real? And I'm not one of those people that'll count out the Aces, but it is concerning that they're losing these games like this. I felt like the Aces could be one of those teams that are competitive in every game, wins or losses, but right now we just have not seen that. They still do have players out with injury, but the player that is concerning me the most on that team is Jewel Lloyd, who they traded for this offseason. You would think Jewel Lloyd was 38. She already played 15 years in the league. She was averaging 9 points. Like, that's just not something I'd expect from Jewel Lloyd. I don't know if it's the fit. I don't know if she's just a shell of herself now, nervous, not confident. Like, it's to the point where they're having conversations about bringing her off the bench. And if you've been paying attention to women's basketball for at least the last like 2 years, 3 years, when Stewie went to New York, Jewel led the league in scoring when she was still with Seattle. Last year was when her play really took a toll, with the new players that they got. And I think it was some stuff going on internally, but I'm not going to touch too much on that. But even back to the Olympics last year, she was benched. Like, she didn't really get too much playing time. She got some DNPs, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, she just hasn't looked like Jewel Lloyd that we know, Gold Mamba. Like, she just hasn't looked like that. And it's continuing in Vegas, and it's hurting them, like, really bad. She's had a few good games, but hasn't been consistent yet. And if she doesn't find it, that's gonna really hurt them because I just don't see a lineup that would contribute better? Question mark. But yeah, that's concerning. It's concerning. But Vegas, I think they'll be okay if they figure it out. Um, they still need to put some depth around their post position. They still did not address that. They also need a GM, which could also be another issue. I don't know who's making the moves, if it's the president or their team president, or I don't know who's calling the shots over there. So yeah, think they'll make the playoffs? Yes, but right now I cannot have them as a title contender. So interested to see where how they trend the rest of June, in July going into All-Star break. So we'll see. All right, the next team that I am disappointed in, Dallas. Dallas Wings. Just go ahead and start by saying it. They have an Arike problem. It's time for Arike and Dallas to respectfully move on from each other. Um, it's not working. Um, they've put a lot of different teams around Arike, and it has yet to show any type of improvement. Um, they drafted Paige Beckers number one overall. Great pick. It's shown so far when she's been available to play. The team doesn't look good though. Um, Part of it is coaching. To me, the other part is roster construction. When you look at their roster, they play really small. They didn't do enough in the offseason to really like. I did have them as a playoff contender, but now like seeing them play together, it looks like it's like three different groups out there playing three different games at the same time. None of it looks cohesive. Um, to me, the best duo on the team is Paige and Dejanay. Um, but that's not gonna win you games all of the time. I know Paige is just coming back from injury. She had the concussion and she was sick, and she's balling. She just had 35 points on like crazy efficiency. But outside of that, it's like okay, cool. I don't like the Maisha Hines Allen and Alyssa Smith 4 and 5 combination. Um, Not a fan of it. I can't say the young lady's name. That is from Germany. Their center. Um, she provides good minutes for them. Um, and then they have Big T, but she's over. She's doing overseas commitments for her national team that she plays on. Can't remember. I think it's Turkey. I think she does play with. So they're missing her right now, and believe it or not, one of their better lineups was with her, Ty Harris, Maddie Segrist, Paige, and I think Dejanay. Ty Harris is now out for the season, so they still have that question mark for backup point guard position. And yeah, they just have a lot of questions to answer. Of course, this is their coach's first year coaching. And, a lot of people, when things don't go correctly fast, definitely in the WNBA, things move fast. If you don't, because it's not that many games. So if you don't prove that you can do the job, of course, fans are going to want you out. I think things would turn around for them. But I don't really see them making the playoffs unless they go on some miracle run. Dallas, I don't know if they're gonna do it before the trade deadline or in the off season, but I think it's time for them to part ways with Enrique. It's unfortunate. She's a great player, great talent, but it's been what 7 years. I think she's been with them for 7 years, 6, 7. I hate that 6, 7, or 8 years. I'm not really sure exactly off the top of my head, but yeah, I think it's time for them to move on. And the last team, to me, I think my expectations for them were bigger. I think everyone's expectations were, because from what things that I was seeing. But the last team is the Chicago Sky. Um, I did have them as a playoff team. I did think that Angel and Camilla would take that leap. Angel and Camilla would take that leap that we saw kind of towards the end of the season before Angel hurt her wrist. But so far, that is not what we've been seeing with them. They still look like they're clashing in the paint. Um, because none of them have necessarily a complete enough game to like give each other space, right? So that's an issue. Also, to me though, because a lot of fans, of course, they like to say Camilla's the issue, Angel's the issue. Like they like to point fingers and things like that. The real issue and the real problem is Jeff, the GM. I'm not even gonna say his last name because I know I'm gonna mess it up. But their GM, their roster that they put together, it's not good. It wasn't good from when we started the season. It looked good, I guess, but kind of seeing it in the first 10 games, it hasn't been great. It's just kind of head scratching to hear him get. He got interviewed, and I'll just read you a few of the things that he said. He said, "It's a long season and there's a lot of games, but this is unexpected and I've been very disappointed. We had pretty big significant expectations for this season. That's why I made the moves I made." Now, when we talk about those moves that he made, he traded the number 3 pick for Ariel Atkins and I think a future pick. Um Ariel Atkins, great player, all-star, Olympian, champion, you know, I think defensive team member. But to me, she doesn't solve the issues that you all have. Ariel Atkins is somebody that I could see or could have seen going to like a Las Vegas instead of Jewel Lloyd. But hey, that's not how things worked. Um, so far, she hasn't been what people thought she would be for the team. Granted, it has only been like 10 or 11 games, but at times she's too passive, and at times, really to me, she's just too passive at times. She's a good shooter, she's a good defender, but it just hasn't worked out. Then you signed in I think Sloot is 37. I'm gonna say 35 plus year old point guard. While Sloot is one of the best point guards of all time in the WNBA, for you to want to be competitive that can't be the starting guard that you sign. She's a great facilitator. But like I said, she's over the age of 35, and Sloot has only been regressing defensively each year. So I remember when I made my video, I said that was going to be one of their biggest issues. And so far, it has held true. Their perimeter defense is trash. Very, very trash. Now Sloot is hurt, and now they have Haley Van Lith in there. Their perimeter defense is trash. We all know that Haley cannot guard. That's just something she can't do. And then trying to throw her in there to be a point guard in the W, that is one of, I'll probably say that's like the second hardest position to play in the W behind the four position. Haley is struggling. The team is struggling. The team roster is trash. Kia Nurse stinks. Beck Allen has been a positive, but they won't start her for whatever reason. Um, but yeah, the roster was just not constructed well. Um, their coach, again, it's his first year. He's trying to figure things out. I think he also deserves grace. He also deserves time. I know a lot of people are upset that Teresa Witherspoon was fired after 1 year. I was one of those people that was upset. I thought she should have at least been given maybe one more year, but we know how that goes for us. So, um, we Chicago. I'm gonna pray for them because they've just been. They're one of the worst franchises in the league. Like, if you really look back at their history, it was a tweet that was put out. Um, what was that? That had to be like the other day. I'm about to pull it up. So this tweet says James Wade was right. Remember, James Wade was their coach slash GM. He left in the middle of the 2023 season. CPT, who is Cheyenne Parker Tyus, was right. She left, went to Atlanta. Gabby Williams was right. She left. She damn near stopped playing in the league for real. Um, well, she went to another team, but she wasn't over in the W as much. She left. Now she's doing great things in Seattle. Candace Parker was right. They won that championship, but that second year when things got rough, she dipped and went to Vegas. Alana Smith and Courtney Williams was right. Post CP3 era, it was Courtney Williams, Alana Smith, Marina Mabry, Kalia Copper, that team. After that season, Alana and Courtney dipped to Minnesota and they went to the finals last year and won the Commissioner's Cup. Ka was right. Kalia Copper, she did that season and she said, nope. Right before they drafted Angel, she said, nope, I don't want to be here no more. She got traded to Phoenix. Marina was right. Last year, middle of the season, she said, I'm done with this. It's time for me to go. But wait, there's more. Elena Deladon was right. She was drafted by the Sky. She played a few seasons and said, you know what? Get me out of here. No. Went to the finals with them and everything. No, get me out of here. Ready to go. And then Sylvia Fowles was right. Also, same thing. She played the beginning of her career with them, went to the finals with them. They lost. She got traded to Minnesota, I think the following year, and she won 2 championships in Minnesota. Like, they're just not a good franchise. They had all of this talent, and like outside of that one championship they got with Candace Parker, Ka, uh, Emma Mieseman, outside of that, what do they have to show for their other, all the other talent that they had on that team? They had Azare Stevens. They had Diamond DeShields. They had Lexi Brown. They had solid young players, solid players in general. And just outside of that 2021 championship, they just could not make anything out of it. So I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. But those are my teams that just kind of head scratching about right now. See where their season is gonna go. Um, I was pretty much wrong with all three teams of where I put them at the beginning of the year, but it is what it is. But that's gonna be all for today. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, comment anything down below that you want to see on this channel. I am about to record another video of me selecting my all stars. So if you see this shirt again, don't don't try to be like, oh, she. No, I'm literally just recording videos so I can drop them, and I'm not changing my shirt because that's just too much. So don't think like, oh, she nasty. She got the same shirt on, and this is a week apart. No, I'm just recording. It's not gonna be a week apart, but I'm just recording back to back. So like, comment, subscribe. We out. Peace.